I'm Will Sullivan inside the NFL Network newsroom with breaking news. And the NFL has rendered its decision on Browns running back Kareem Hunt. NFL Network Insider Ian Rapoport reporting the league suspending Hunt 8 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. For more on this breaking news story, we now bring in Rap Sheet Ian Rapoport himself. And Ian, was this about what we were looking for in terms of the punishment for Kareem Hunt here?
Yeah, right in the ballpark. And the only real question here was, where's the NFL going to take into account the 4 games that Kareem Hunt didn't play at the end of last season, when, of course, he was released by the Kansas City Chiefs? Was that all going to count in their punishment? What I was told was that it was going to be more than 6 games because of repeated violations to the NFL personal conduct policy. Obviously, there was the incident that we all know about with Kareem Hunt pushing and kicking a woman in a Cleveland hotel. There was also 2 other instances where the NFL was looking into issues regarding Kareem Hunt. One from last June at a resort, another from a potential altercation at a club. So the expectation was it was going to be more than 6 games. It was just how many more games. The NFL ends up coming down around in the middle between 6 and 10. 8 games for Kareem Hunt, and he is not going to appeal. In fact, his agency just released a statement a couple seconds ago affirming the punishment and basically saying we stand by our client Kareem Hunt in his decision to accept the suspension handed down by the NFL. They thank the Browns for the unwavering support and also thank the NFLPA in the process. Meanwhile, guys, the NFL has issued its firm statement with Kareem Hunt being suspended for 8 games. I'll read you the important parts of it, and they do mention the physical altercation at the residence in Cleveland and the instance at a resort in Ohio last June. They say the findings followed a detailed investigation by the NFL, which included a review of the law enforcement videos, electronic communication, and multiple interviews with Kareem Hunt. Hunt advised the league office that he accepted accepted responsibility, which we knew, and he is committed to taking advantage of the available resources to help him grow personally and as a member of the Browns. As far as specifics to this, the 8-game suspension takes into effect on the final roster cutdown day, August 31st, and he will be able to play in the Browns' 9th regular season game. So that is the details on Kareem Hunt's 8-game suspension, something that, of course, has been looming since he was released by the Kansas City Chiefs and is now official.
Ian, what was the expectation from the Browns on what punishment Kareem Hunt would receive?
This was about right. They thought maybe it would be 6 games. They hoped it would be 6 games, which is the general suspension for a first violation of the personal conduct policy. But because there were multiple incidents, and 2 specific that the NFL mentioned, one at the resort in June and then one at the Cleveland hotel, there was a feeling that it may be more than 6, and in the end, it ends up being a couple games more than 6. And now, they signed Kareem Hunt to a lot of fanfare. It was a big story. And, he's going to continue to be a big story as he gets in OTAs and all of that. But when the season begins, he is going to take a backseat. And it's interesting for the Cleveland Browns. They now have another issue, unrelated but linked a little bit to Duke Johnson, their third down running back. He has been a subject of trade rumors. Teams have been interested in potentially acquiring him. The Browns wanted to keep him until they knew how long Hunt will be suspended. Remains to be seen how this will impact the status of Duke Johnson on the roster.
Well, so his status could be potentially in limbo in terms of on the field, depending on what happens with Duke Johnson, and now we know Kareem Hunt. How is this going to affect the Browns on the field?
Well, they lose a talented running back, but to be honest, they weren't expecting to have him at the start of the season anyway. So for the Browns, I'm not sure it really does much of anything except for confirming what they thought. They expected to begin the season without Kareem Hunt. It's a one-year contract he signed, but this is a long-term investment in him. And as John Dorsey detailed on the first day that he talked about it when they acquired him, this is an investment in the person. Dorsey believes in second chances. Hunt has had alcohol rehab. He's gone to anger management, counseling. He has done a lot of work personally that I know the Browns are happy with and confident in. So this is a long-term proposition for the Browns. They believe in obviously acquiring one of the top talents. On the field, they hope it works out. Off the field, they really, really hope it works out. But they were not expecting to have him to start the season, so it probably shouldn't change much of what the Browns plan to do going into the season.
Ian, was there any precedent that the NFL followed in rendering today's decision?
Well, the precedent goes back to their personal conduct policy baseline, 6 games for a first offense. That is the standard. That is what it's been in the past in several other instances. And what they leave room for is, are there extenuating circumstances? Are there issues related to this suspension that would make it more than 6 games? In this case, it was the other incident in the resort in Ohio this past June. And when the NFL found out that there was, in fact, wrongdoing, they're looking into 3 incidents. They found out there was wrongdoing in 2. So obviously, Hunt was not. The issues at the club where he kind of got into a skirmish that TMZ brought it up, that was not included in all of this. It was simply the incident at the hotel in Cleveland, and then it was the incident at the resort in June. All of that combined for an 8-game suspension for Kareem Hunt.
All right, NFL Network Insider Ian Rapoport with the very latest on our breaking news on Kareem Hunt.